nearly fallen. But you see, here's a tiller on the back of an economy tractor, specifically the Jim Dandy. Not necessarily the tractor people would buy if they were going to do gardening, but either way, they made it and it works. The following is the unmitigated chaos of me installing this mess. And so far, my third attempt at a video and fairly consistent madness. So let's get started. So I've got this adorable little tripod for my GoPro, and I'm not gonna lie, I absolutely love the thing, but I don't know what happened to my regular tripod, so I'm kind of stuck with this little bitty guy, and I've got to figure out how to hold the camera and do this one-handed. But you can kind of see where this is all going, and I'm trying to decide if that doesn't really feel correct. I don't know, what do you guys think? You think these need to be like that or like that? The wear pattern actually would suggest... Alright, let's turn it around. Up! Yeah, that's starting to look more right. So, until somebody tells me otherwise, that's what I'm going with. Alright. Well, I'm pretty happy with that. And that'll go up and down as it needs to. Now let's sort the front out. Camera's not picking it up, but I think I figured out where they go. I gotta take a bolt out. Lovely. So right about the time I start to really record this, the neighbor brings out his giant manure spreader thing and starts going to town. All right, do we got light? I think we got light. All right, this bracket will eventually bolt right here. I can't tell if it goes inside or outside of the frame. I will determine that at some point in the future. But that creates this hinge for the rear lift. And then the drawbar effectively hangs like that, just like this. Hey Matt, why don't you position the camera where they can see it? All right, I hope that you guys can kind of connect the dots, but I am unable at the time to do much better, but I think it's pretty effective. So, all right. And of course, as you raise and lower the bar, that's how this works. So, overall, pretty simple system. Now let's put a tiller on it. So, in case anybody's wondering, this is visual proof that I do actually grease my machines. I have been amazed at how many people don't do the basic maintenance on their equipment. Now, I'm not accusing anybody that might be watching this of this, but I have known a couple of collectors that didn't grease anything. I don't use it enough to really justify all that. Well, okay, but you ran it for 45 minutes at a show, so, you know, that's that. Anyway, that's just my small rant. To be honest, it's probably not even necessary, but back to the show. All right, is this gonna go well? Guide it around the lift. Wow, it actually clears everything. Okay, this is very easily one of the most awkward attachments outside of a Haben sickle I have ever messed with. But since I've removed the apparatus on the front, it's going in really well. Okay, in we go. I believe. All right. All right. This is going to be almost terrible because that's an awkward piece of metal to try to have to hold and then run a bolt through a chassis, but we'll make it. If you don't believe in me, well, that's fine. I'm a stranger on the internet. Let's do this. All right, hit the hole, Matt. Hit the hole. Let's do it. Ha-ha. All right, one step closer to turning dirt. All of this, and I haven't even plowed the garden yet. Oh, all right. Are you going to line up on the other side? Yes, we are. Cool. Still not exactly seeing how this is all going to play out, but we'll get there when we get there. So partway through editing this, I had realized that footage of me explaining how this works had disappeared. So here we are. Not quite canonical, but I guess it'll work. Basically, this piece that I had just installed functions as the pivot for the rear of the tiller, because as it goes up and down, it has to pivot right here, but it also has to pivot for the engage and disengage. Let me bring you around. Because you have to drop this pulley down to engage it, which I will show functioning in a minute. But you see how this will work? I'm going to move this lever down, and you see how that just barely moves. That is the engage and disengage, and then, yeah, let's stabilize that. I mean, you see it doesn't move a lot, but it does have to move. So a lot goes on this bracket, and you see it is spaced out. I'm using washers right now because I don't know what economy actually used, because this was all took apart when I got this. All right, I feel like that better explains what's going on here. And I want to make sure that if you watch this, even if it is a bit chaotic, you'll know how your tiller works if you happen to have one of these. And that's what's most important to me, is that if you come away from my video with anything, it's a better understanding of how an attachment works. All right, thank you. Well, that went better than some of the things I've done, but we haven't plowed the garden yet. It's still been wet. Other things like work have gotten in the way, but we're going to plow it with the orange Sears. We're going to disc it with the orange Sears, and then we're going to till it with this guy, because my Sears tiller has a very, very injured 8 horsepower Briggs & Stratton on it. I don't yet have a replacement. Besides, why use 8 when you could have 12? So that's what I got coming up. I don't really have a schedule for it yet. I'm going to continue to release videos a minimum of once a week, just trying to build up a channel at all. Equipment will get better as far as video making, and we'll go more in depth on stuff, because right on the other side of this camera is a restoration project that I have started, waiting for the weather to get consistent before I can continue with that. And I kind of want to put some video out on that one, because that's going to be fun. It's going to be the big brother to this guy, an actual Power King with a 5-foot sickle mower on it, among other things like 3-point wheel weights, stuff like that, as I can find them. Ideally, I'd like to find some other attachments. You know, disc plow, stuff like that. I might even change the 3-point out for the drawbar hitch like this one has for the drawbar hitch attachments, but it'll all just kind of have to play out as life does. I can't necessarily make things happen just because I want to, but this is what I got on my mind, and appreciate those of you who've watched, one of which is my wife. Love you, Casey. But yeah, I don't know what else, but if you want to see anything specific regarding Sears or Power King, if I can, I will absolutely make it happen. But till then, thanks for being here. Well, I was going to end the video with me talking about the plowing and stuff having to wait because of the weather, but then I couldn't stand it, and I took the Sears out, and it barely plowed that mud. But this thing did a pretty good job. Let me get you in here. I mean, I don't know what all you could see from where you were sitting, but I put it in a puddle to wash it up a little bit. But even though it's muddy, it still did a pretty good job. Like, I can definitely see that I need to speed the tiller up, because you can see the marks here. There's a cut, there's a cut, there's a cut, there's a cut, all the way down. So it's pretty common to swap the front drive pulley from like a 7 or 8 inch down to like a 6 inch, maybe even like a 5.5. And that's what I'm gonna do, regardless of whether I ever put a second transmission into this spot right here. I fully intend on speeding that tiller up, because that pulley is just a little too big. Anyway, thanks for watching once again, guys. Stay tuned.